Ladies and gentlemen, where are the missing spies? I have a view on this. I am an expert on espionage. I have watched a lot of Michael Caine videos, and I will show you this scenario that you will actually find in the classic Michael Caine video, the Ipcress files. What we're going to do, we're going to watch a bit of Fox News for a bit of entertainment, and then we'll get into the most likely scenarios of who these people are and where they have gone, and why is the Talpiot Program alumni guy, Ari Loeb from Harvard, why is he leading the way on this investigation? I smells me errata, a grande errata. Ladies and gentlemen, I say, here we go again. Let us attend.
Cyber is a real domain of power. Cyber is a real domain of power.
As you will no doubt have heard, multiple scientists have gone missing since 2022. I at first just let it go. If you don't know who I am, by the way, my name is Brendon Lee O'Connell. I'm 55 years old. I'm in Querétaro, Mexico. I'm an Australian citizen.
This is about SAS Campbell Barracks, Leon Wind, Variant. Okay. Timothy, you told me that Variant does your local and national, your local police intercepts, an Israeli intelligence front.
I'm just going to pop you in the car.
Yeah, I know you are, Tim. F you, Tim. Okay. I'll tell you.
On the run, been to Iran, Lebanon, and possess the greatest espionage case in history. Sounds fantastic? Well, look at the links below. Read my UN refugee document. Suspend your disbelief. Three years jail. Racial vilification against Jews. All the stuff you see today, I was pushing hard politically 17 years ago.
It does not say they will slay all Gentiles.
No, slay Amalek. And Hannah Kasher called the Palestinians Amalek. She is a current Israeli academic.
You just called all Jews racist, and that you just ruined your whole campaign, because every single person out here has just heard someone say that every Jewish person is a racist. Do you think Jewish people are racists? No, and that is disgusting. Jewish people are racist. That's what this man's saying.
You're a persecuted people. Everyone picks on you. Yeah.
I must be a freak of nature because my mum's Jewish and my dad's Christian.
Yes, but it all runs through the female, doesn't it? Tell the people what's in the Tanakh. Destroy them all, spare them not, man, infant, woman, suckling, camel and ass.
Well, question, I'm just going to be honest. You can film this one.
Film, tell them about the slaughter.
I don't really want to be filmed.
But you were filming us. You were filming us without permission.
Racist. Because that's what this man's saying.
You have a religion of racism, homicide and ethnic cleansing. You have 3,000 years of homicide and ethnic cleansing. Have you read the Tanakh? You don't read the Tanakh, you read the Talmud. You consult a rabbi.
But now it's fashionable, and now you make money. You don't go to jail, you make cash. Look at Tucker Carlson, 27 staff. He's making millions a year. Candace Owens, 20 permanent staff with her homosexual boyfriend, Lord, close to the Jewish Board of Deputies. George Palmer, oh, it's all coming apart now, isn't it? Laura's fighting Candace, but, you know, $5 trillion from the Pentagon, still missing. $3 trillion stolen in 2008, and the bankers all paid themselves bonuses and laughed at the dumb guy. And of course, Israel and the City of London completely penetrated US critical infrastructure, all the industrial controller chips. They run their water, their power, and you're going, what? Since when? An American company runs their water, our power, our banks, our ATMs, our telecommunications. No, they're all Israeli companies. Talpiot Program, Unit 8200. They're running Microsoft, they run Intel, research and design. Yep, and I'm not joking. Qualcomm in your phones, Israeli, all of it. And you never knew, because no one seems to want to tell you, and no one wants to ask me a specific question except geopolitics and power, and I thank him for that. But he's a real intellectual. He actually looked up what I was about and then asked me relevant questions, and you should see the link below to go and see his channel. Let me get that up for you. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Geopolitics and Empire. From March the 10th. This is the first interviewer I ever had recently, and he is based in Guadalajara, and he is an academic who's very interesting past. It's where is World Economic Forum. Got a lot of photos with a lot of people, and I do apologize to this highly intelligent and articulate gentleman because I'll be damned if I can pronounce the name. I still can't do it. I'm so sorry. I can't even damn well find. I apologize. Croatian background. My friends from Serbia say hi. Everybody gets along in Australia, including the Slavs. Would you believe, after all that tension in the area in the old former Yugoslavia? But there you go. There is a highly intelligent man asking highly intelligent questions, and I really look forward to it. But let's get back to the missing scientist, shall we? Okie dokie, before we start to watch the Fox News alert, the Faulkner Focus, always entertaining. I love Fox News. It's always fun. The other cat ladies at MSNBC and CNN I can't watch. So it's pretty bad when a man can only watch Fox News. You know there's something wrong. But we're going to have a look, fake Shahs and Exfiltrations, about how they made body doubles of the Shah. And we'll discuss, of course, good old Jeffrey Epstein. I believe he's alive. It's standard practice. They always get their people back. Siempre. Always. And if you think Hollywood doesn't do jobs for the CIA, for the Mossad, they are the kings. So if you don't think they could fake a few photographs, and remember when they brought Epstein's body in, they just happened to have a photographer waiting out the front and in the hallway. How lucky was that? So we're going to talk that. We're going to talk the Ipcress files, my favorite espionage, Michael Caine, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Only beaten by Richard Burton in, of course, The Spy, who came in from the cold. I must have watched that 100 times. God, it's my favorite movie ever, along with Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the original BBC 5-part series, and of course with Sir Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course the new one with Gary Oldman I enjoyed thoroughly. And of course the Apple TV series Slow Horses. You got to watch it with Gary Oldman. It's fantastic. Really, really good. So again, we'll go back over fake Shahs, and we're going to go over how they went to fake the death of the Shah with photographs and body doubles and all the rest. This is just a show to establish the tradition. And we'll then go over all the scenarios based on all our favorite espionage movies. Okay, let us attend. Here we go. They're going to tell us all we need to know. And just remember, the man really leading the investigation in terms of the publicity side is Ari Loeb. Ari Loeb, Harvard University Talpiot Program. Watch my other videos. They're in my playlist. It's always linked below. You will find it very, very easily.
Okay, this is a story that we're sticking on Outnumbered. It has now gone to the new chapter. The U.S. House Oversight Committee will now investigate the mysterious deaths and disappearances of now 11 scientists.
I'll just let you know, I went off it a bit. As soon as I heard aliens and stuff, I just switched off. But someone said, you should really check it out because Ari Loeb, Talpiot. I went, oh, how interesting. Let's look into this.
They'd all been working on high-level space or nuclear power research, and they have either died or mysteriously vanished since 2022, some with some strange similarities, like leaving their homes without phones or wallets. Committee Chairman James Comer says a new coordinated effort is underway to find the answers.
This is something that could be very serious. We know there are many countries around the world that would love to have our knowledge and nuclear capabilities, and these are the people that were at the forefront of it. And
if they wanted your knowledge and nuclear capabilities, dude, they just go to Israel and get it off them because they steal it all. So, come on. And you hand it over most of the time because you got to have an official enemy. How do you justify $1 trillion handout to the high technology sector? Ta-da!
They're either dead or missing.
Law enforcement has not drawn a link between or among any of these cases. However, the mystery is still prompting some fresh questions, like this one from our own Peter Ducey.
Do you think it's possible that some foreign spies could be scooping up our scientists to go build something?
That would be the most likely explanation for a lot of this, and that's not out of the realm of possibilities. I mean, there's been activity of foreign countries interfering with or bringing over scientists from other countries.
Lisa, you looked at me like you were watching a movie.
That's what this feels like. It feels like we're living.
Now, this is linked below. I don't know if we'll watch any more of it but all jokes aside, I always poke fun at Fox News. I don't watch the cat ladies at MSNBC. I just don't even bother. But I will often watch Fox because that's where the main action is. This is the main propaganda channel. This is linked in with General Jim Jones, Denology, Clear Force. the founder of the Marine NATO Psychological Warfare Training, one of the heads of the Marine Psychological Training School. They introduced interactive internet activities with Patrick Berge, Shadowgate, friends with Roger Stone, who's friends with Robert David Steele, who was General Al Gray. Kay Griggs called him the most evil man she ever knew. He founded the Marine Psychological Warfare Training School. So you can see all these links. And Gillian Turner on here, one of the people on here was General Jim Jones's secretary or something. That was all from Patrick Berge. So Fox has improved. I know, hard to believe. But they're actually talking about things. When I started watching this, I never expected them to raise all the theories. They basically raise all the theories I'm going to raise to you. I thought, my God, they're actually theorizing intelligently. It's incredible. Even on Iran now they're all admitting, yeah, the Iranians have got their apartments in London, they've got their bank accounts in Switzerland, they've got their bank accounts in Dubai, they've got their bank accounts in Turkey, and we all know where they are. So you all know where they are, don't you? See, now they're just dismantling the system. They're dismantling their network. And this might be the dismantling of a network. They're dismantling the artificial Islamic terror threat, which is completely artificial. The MI6, City of London, they run it through the Wahhabists in Saudi, who are then funding, who are as religious as my big toe, I might add, since King Faisal. Every time a good prince comes up, they kill him. He dies of exposure in the desert, or he wakes up with a heart attack. Every time an Arab gets up and says, look, no offense, I don't want to go to war. I just prefer to have some control over my own resources. And it's like, you will put your money in City of London banks. Are we clear? So everyone's robbing the Arabs blind, including, of course, Tucker Carlson and anyone else who can get their dibs in on some cash, City of London cash, which is really Arabian resources, Arab resource cash. And everyone's up for $1. So finally, it's kind of starting to be pushed out there that all these networks are basically funded by the same people, and it all comes out of Europe. Like they'll say CIA, America. It's the City of London, it's the EU. French, German, Swiss banks, London banks. Literally. They're now being ordered by American elites to dismantle the Islamic terror network, and they have brutally killed 100,000 people along the way. So this new Pax Americana is built on blood and bones. I don't know what to tell you, but that's what's going on. Long term is going to be a lot more peace. There will be, and that's wonderful. And I await the end. The end is going to happen. I believe in Armageddon, but it's a long way off. I might live to see it at 55, maybe, but I doubt it. But I might. I'm just here as an elder, getting better every day, every year, every day, to just keep the narrative alive. That's all I'm here for. Just keep the narrative alive. Survive, pay my rent, keep the narrative alive. Cross my fingers, hope a new generation in the intelligence community, state and federal policing are coming up through the ranks, and maybe some positive change. But the degeneracy of the human race will continue. Without any struggle, it degenerates. And as we're getting ready into the Smart City program, AI, automated systems, I see some positive rhetoric every now and again, but generally it all looks like it's just moving forward. I don't know what to say. I told you, America, I beg your pardon, I didn't promise you a rose garden. I said one set of filthy, pus-ridden, criminal, pedophile, scumbags, sexual deviants is fighting with another batch of pedophile, sexual, deviant, criminal, scumbag deviants. They're just better. They don't beat the children before they rape them. They buy the kids lollipops. They buy the children an Xbox. They're a little nicer. You know, maybe there's hope that this Catholic orphanage we all live in is going to be reformed. We live in hope, but human nature, knowing it as I do, and the best laid plans of mice and men, I suggest until there is a collective suffering that finally brings people back to their senses, until this new generation has run around in bare feet, drunk out of a hose, used a cassette tape, used a dial. You know, it's like June, where they ban all AI and automated systems in June, all these machines, the automatic machines, because brought down the human race. Well, that looks like where we're heading. We'll see. You never know. Hope springs eternal. Ain't over till the fat lady sings and all that good stuff. But these Islamic terror networks are being dismantled. Lots of networks are being dismantled. And I put to you some possibilities about what is going on with these scientists. There's 3 theories that I myself in Gemini AI, usually I use Perplexity, but for some reason I used Gemini AI this time. We're going to read from it. Inputting all my favorite spy movies, me and Gemini AI, my bestest buddy ever, always praising me, telling me how clever I am. Gemini is just the worst. Just if you want a serious research tool, please use Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance's Perplexity. It's the best one. But what we have here is failure to communicate. No, that's a Guns N' Roses song. What we have here is 3 to 4 basic theories. And we can kind of link it back, because past is prologue. So we can link it back to things like the Silva master spy ring, like Harry Dexter White, real name Vonovich, from a Lithuanian Jew, changed his name to White. And the next minute he's advising President Roosevelt. He's forming the IMF, and he's running the Defense Policy Board or whatever it was back then. And he's sleeping in the room next to Roosevelt, Harry Dexter White. When they couldn't ping him on espionage charges, or more precisely, they didn't want to bring him up, they gave him a heart attack instead. This might be a cleanup of an operation, quite possibly. And Fox News kind of insinuates that. They also insinuate a couple of more theories. Let's go over them now with our good friend Gemini AI. And we'll talk about past history, because remember, past is prologue. So if we understand particularly that Silva master spy ring and how a lot of them, when they started cleaning them up, dropped dead. A lot of them didn't go to court. A lot of them ran for their lives. We remember, of course, the Cambridge Five and good old, Guy Burgess and my brain sometimes can't remember the old Cambridge Five. Okay, let's just read this. So we've got the missing scientist story, the scope of the mystery, the number. There are currently 11 specialized individuals, thank you. Most were working in sensitive national security areas, including nuclear power, astrophysics, quantum computing, and advanced propulsion systems. And just to let you know, I'm going to take the reporting at face value. None of this may be true. These all may be crisis actors. It may all be completely fake. That AI made up some individuals. Who the hell knows? I don't know. I ain't there. But I'm going to take the reporting all at face value. And the fact that it's an organic event and the fact that it's all over the media is your first hint, your first clue. They want you to look at it. Look at it. There could be multiple reasons why. What the final intent is, I'm not 100% sure, but given the times in which we live, constant never-ending distraction is probably high on the list. But let's take it at face value, because there might be something very interesting. And what piqued my interest was when Jalil, my Muslim friend, straight out of Compton, says to me, hey, did you know Ari Loeb's been pushing that stuff? And I went, really? Ari Loeb, Harvard Talpiot Program, Israeli firster. How interesting. That's what piqued my interest, and I went and looked. Till then, I thought, oh, look, an alien space monkey story. They probably made the whole thing up. But did they? So let's take it at face value. Amy Eskridge, a researcher into anti-gravity propulsion. This appears to be the most preposterous, and I'll tell you why in a second. Who died in 2022. Before her death, I don't know how she died. I'm not that interested, really. Before her death, she claimed she was being targeted by direct energy weapons, similar to Havana syndrome, and was working on disclosing advanced technological discoveries. I have actually been exposed to directed energy weapons. I went down to Campbell Barracks, which is the Special Forces base in Perth, Western Australia. In 2010, after my arrest, I just kept pushing the limits. After my arrest on racial vilification charges, I went down the front, and here's a short clip.
War criminals. Okay? We ended any association in 1999 with the Indonesian Special Forces, the Kopassus, the most murderous bunch of barbaric bastards. What's the difference with the IDF? They did it with machetes and machine guns. The IDF does it with two-ton bombs. Okay? Onto innocent men, women and children in highly built-up areas. They do it on purpose. It's not a fucking accident. Read their holy books. Their rabbis calling for slaughter. Hannah Kasher calling for slaughter. Ariel Sharon. They all call for the slaughter of the Palestinians. I'm going to do 4 years. I'll do it fucking proud. To these criminal bastards. They're criminals. Absolute murdering criminals.
After being told he would serve 3 years in jail, O'Connell yelled out, "That's a holiday camp compared to Gaza."
After that little interaction at our Special Forces base, commonly known as the SAS or Special Air Service, sounds like a postal delivery service, but we all know it really stands for Sexy Army Soldiers. Does my bum look big in this? Or Super Army Soldiers. So on the dark side of the moon, as David Icke explained to me, just kidding, Super Army Soldiers are based at Campbell Barracks, and they spend a lot of time flying over Swanbourne Beach, looking at the nudist beach in their Black Hawk helicopters. They spend a lot of time getting into crime, drug trafficking with all the South African Special Forces and former South African intelligence that have retired into Perth. Also a lot of British intelligence, British Special Forces, MI5, MI6, British high level like aerospace engineers retire in Perth, Western Australia. It's a hotbed of intrigue. Protected witnesses are hidden in Perth, Western Australia. Wayne Glue was a special copper. He used to go around to all the little hidden tunnels and things and for their security. Many of you know Wayne Glue out of Western Australia. A lot of intrigue in Perth, Western Australia. Hidden bases in the desert. I was in mining, exploration, gold assaying. A lot of people I knew in oil and gas, so I can tell you a lot of gossip about Perth, Western Australia. A personal fiefdom, deeply in bed with Bibi, deeply in bed. Bestest friends ever, that state, including the former Foreign Minister, Julie Bishop. So it's a very interesting place. So this lady, when I was zapped with their microwave weapon, it was about 15 minutes later, I left there and I went down and thought, I wonder if the coppers are going to come and bust me for my bail conditions. I thought, I don't care, more publicity. And as I caught the bus down the coast to go to the Cottesloe Hotel for a cup of coffee by the ocean, which is a main hangout for SAS, Cottesloe Hotel, Swanbourne Surf's Lifesaving, Hillary's Boat Harbour. This whole side of my head was burning and I had like heat stroke, sunstroke. Like I'd worked a lot outdoors. I'd had heat stroke before. I was like, oh, my head is burning, headache. It was all down this side, which was the side with the bell tower they have there in a bell tower, boy, that's why I call myself that. Bell tower they have on Campbell Barracks. They got up in the top of it and they zapped me with a microwave. And that's what it does. It burns the skin and gives you localized heating. For the lady to say she received extensive burns, I don't know if that can do that. It's not easy to do on someone. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I don't know this person. I haven't looked closely. Just not ringing true for me. There's an element of bullshit in here somewhere. I don't know. I can't explain it, but it's a little contrived, but there's an element of truth in here. So that's Amy Eskridge. Don't know how she died, but, you know, she's working on advanced technologies. Yeah. Let's move on. I'm surprised she hasn't been on Joe Rogan. General William Neil McCasland, a retired Air Force general with deep ties to the Pentagon's UFO programs, who vanished in March 2026 after leaving his home for a hike without his phone or wallet. Are there aliens out there? Well, I presume so. It'd be an awful waste of space. Are they flying around the Earth, crossing trillions and quadrillions of miles of space to fly around with their lights on and go, wee? I doubt it. The most likely explanation is that this is indigenous human technology, particularly coming out of post-World War II Germany. I suggest you read The Hunt for Zero Point by Nick Cook, the Jane's Defense Weekly aviation editor. Okay, read that book. I read it in 2005 when it came out. How much is planted stuff, horsebucky? Don't know, but it rings true. You know, the Foo Fighters out of the Second World War. It rings true. They probably had anti-gravity to the 50s. It would not surprise me. They've got crazy stuff out there, and they're probably going to release it in the next few years under Trump. And Trump's got links with his family to Tesla, all sorts of stuff. Nikola Tesla. And, you know, Alex Jones said, you know, they're going to release all the technology for us. How kind of them. You remember that? Okay. Without getting too sidetracked. So UFO just means unidentified object that is flying. The stuff they put out in the last few years have been laughable, literally ducks flapping. One of them was a parallax effect with ducks flapping. You can see the ducks flapping their wings. And the US Navy's just laughing their asses off at the suckers. That's just, who believes this shit? But people do. Without doubt, I believe there is absolutely high-tech stuff. There's people whose opinions I believe, and they have seen some crazy stuff. But it is indigenous technology on the water and in the air, without question. It is indigenous, mostly US technology. And a lot of it is tested in Australia now, by the way. Anyway, UFO stuff is a cover for high technology. There's a high technology space plane. It's called the SR-71 Blackbird or Habu. And 56 years after the Wright brothers flew their rickety little plane, 56 years, I'm 55, one more year in the span of my life, born in 1970, Generation X, the greatest generation. In my lifespan, it's gone from rickety little old aircraft and the Wright brothers to an all-titanium turbo ramjet, 80,000 to 100 feet maximum altitude and probably a little bit higher, Mach 4 plus for bursts of speed, Mach 3.2 cruise, all titanium, no supercomputers. It was designed by people with set squares and no computer-aided design. Kelly, the incredible skunk works out of Lockheed. And in 1959, that thing flew. It's a frickin' space plane. And that's over 60 years ago. 60 years ago. What do you think they got now? I mean, development isn't linear, but it just keeps progressing. You got to read the history of that aircraft to understand how they had to build every single part and every single machine from scratch because it was so high tech. And they did it in the 1950s. They started development. You think about that. Think about it. 56 years after the Wright brothers. It's just a cover for our indigenous high tech. Monica Razza, an astrophysicist who disappeared on a hike. Friends saw her wave and she was never seen again. It's pretty freaky according to the reporting. Basically, she was a bit tired. She'd fallen back and waved. Next minute they turned around, she was gone. My feeling is there's elements of truth in this, but they're bullshitting us. But we'll see. Melissa Casius, an administrative assistant at a high-level lab who vanished while walking down a road without her keys or phone. The official investigation. The Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has launched a formal investigation into these 11 cases to determine if there is a coordinated pattern. The FBI involvement. The FBI has joined the search. Sorry, I accidentally clicked a button. So what happened? Oh my God, the Jews are zapping me with their space laser. The FBI has joined the search for General McCashley and is reportedly looking for commonalities between the cases. Now, this is my stuff when I'm talking to AI. Why don't we jump to, we'll get there. We'll get to the Ipcress file. They made a movie about this sort of stuff. The spy and extraction theory. The theory you mentioned, that these individuals are being scooped up or extracted by foreign powers, is a central theme of the current investigation. Espionage risk. Lawmakers are exploring the possibility that foreign intelligence services, specifically Russia or China, how about Israel, UK even, are either eliminating top US minds or extracting them to gain a technological advantage. The local spies angle. Commentators have noted that even administrative staff like Melissa Casius are potentially valuable because they have visibility into scheduling and high-level communications. Avi Loeb's stance. In his recent interviews, Loeb has cautioned against connecting dots that aren't there, but has admitted that the cluster of events is unusual enough to warrant high-level scrutiny by the FBI, which is true. Now, here's the three basic scenarios. It's one of those things, and they've extracted convenient. There might be another 100 people who have disappeared at the same time. We don't know. Who are truck drivers and who are sewage cleaners and toilet cleaners. We don't know. But let's assume all the reporting at face value, which is it's possible. I smell a rat, but it's possible. They're actually spies. If you think this is the first time, we can go back through Jonathan Pollard and Aldrich Ames and, what's his name? The biggest of the big, the FBI. Hanson. Boo bop. No, not that one. Our Opus Day boy. Senor Hansen, is it Robert Hansen? Whatever his name is. And a whole bunch of them. So they get rid of the paranoid drunk, CIA counterintelligence, James Angleton. Nothing improves. In fact, things get worse and worse and worse during that incredible 1970s period. Very important time, especially post 2001, where everyone gets pulled off counterintelligence and shoved into counterterrorism, and then the Israelis, the Brits, and the Chinese just ran riot through the whole country. And this might be a cleanup of aspiring, like the Silva. The best way is Diane West. Red Thread. She's written 3 or 4 books, but read Red Thread, and she will take you over the whole McCarthy era period and the Silva Master spy ring. Nathan Gregory Silva Master. I always repeat it again and again, because if you understand that spy ring, and nearly all of them were Jews, and how many ran, you then had the Cambridge Five, of course, Guy Burgess, the 2IC at MI6 and so on. You had Peter Wright in the 1980s saying that the head of MI5 was a Soviet spy. Peter Wright also said in his book Spycatcher that half of the British establishment were working for the Soviets. Think about it. It's a voiceover. I'm writing the script now. It's got to be good. I don't want to just wing it. So with these things in mind, are these people actually working for Israeli, British intelligence? We'll say Soviet, Russians, but it's all City of London. Are they spies? Was someone getting onto them and they've done a dash and they've slowly been running? The other alternative is they've been killed by local counterintelligence, counterespionage. That local FBI and possibly CIA have been killing them because they would just rather deal with it quietly, because, these things are handled quietly. They did that with Harry Dexter White. They didn't want to think, so they started giving them heart attacks, because they didn't want to put it through a big public trial, partly through embarrassment. So are they killing off also, when I started to get some traction on the Talpiot Program and what had happened to me, my favourite pin-up boys all died within 18 months. Lord Jacob Rothschild was suddenly dead, not ill in hospital for a year, no, just dead. No, I didn't even know what he died of. It just said he was dead and gone. Thank you very much, move along. Kissinger, our favourite, had met his end suddenly again while he was 100, but yeah, with the stem cells in the baby's blood. Come on, they live for a long time. Suddenly he was dead, not sick, in hospital, reportedly admitted to the hospital. There's always an admission process. There's always precursor, just dead. My other pin-up boys, which will mean nothing to you, but I see the pattern, Yahud Zisapel and Zohar Zisapel, the founder, the 2 brothers from Israel, all Polish shoe salesmen, they find themselves the head of Rad Group, which is one of the most powerful Israeli companies, which own literally the world's critical infrastructure, including right here in Kedatata. They remote sensor factories of every kind. They remote sensor data centers of every kind. They do water, power, sewerage, telecommunications, government VoIP encryption, radios, encrypted radios, military radios, you name it. Can't get anyone to say the name. They suddenly were dead. Our favourite boy, Amit Yoran, ship dipped through West Point. Thank you, Jeremy Rothgeschel, ambush Tulsi Gabbard in June 2019. No one gives a crap. No one will link to us. But anyway, we don't sit at home talking about the latest Laura Loomer, Candace Owens gossip, so we don't get linked to. We just get people who kind of want to hang out and, push Putin and things. But I'll talk about that. So do you see the themes? Amit Yoran is suddenly dead. He's my age. Same year, 1970 he was born. Suddenly he's dead. Cancer. Young man, 55. I thought, wow, in 18 months, my 4 pin-up boys are dead, except BB. We're still waiting for that one. No such luck. So you can see how they might be possibly knocking off a few people or disappearing a few people. I don't know. So it could be that either they've been scooped up and disappeared over time because that's the time, remember, it's all starting to come out. Remember, I'm getting approached by highest level people. All through COVID, you start seeing now people disappearing. I believe possibly Israel, City of London, Soviets, the old Soviets, Russia, just call them Soviets, even China, but most likely Israel, City of London, Russia, were gathering up their assets. They were worried about them being caught. Number one, or number two, US authorities are killing them quietly. just quietly getting rid of them, cleaning out the network. Or this network is slowly being disappeared, just like in the Bourne series, Jason Bourne, where they start killing off Treadstone. They start killing off all the people. That is also a possibility. Could they be being kidnapped and taken to a dark dungeon with Dr. Evil? It's possible, but it's the least likely. Why? They don't need it. They don't need this stuff. They don't need to kidnap these scientists. As if one scientist will somehow give them the secret technology to anti-gravity and the Nazi super weapons for the Jewish space lasers. I don't believe that one. The far most likely is a foreign intelligence outfit is getting their assets out before they get busted. And there's lots of spy rings. You only have to look at the past. Lots of them. From Britain, penetrating, MI6 penetrating, the British Admiralty penetrating a lot of places. And then, of course, the biggest one of all is the Talpiot Program, Unit 8200, running all the critical infrastructure in the United States and the world. The other half of the Epstein angle of sexual blackmail, which is control of a country's critical infrastructure. So with all these things in mind, the most likely scenario is they were either getting their people back as fast as they can, getting them back, sorry, I had to pause because of noise, or killing them off before someone else nubs them, like the US authorities, one, or local authorities cottoning onto the network, not wanting to create a scene, have been slowly knocking these people off rather than taken through court for a bit of tit for tat. These things are all possible. Let's go over what good old Gemini AI came up with, the extraction theory, and we'll talk about this in a minute. Lawmakers and commentators have raised the possibility that foreign spies are scooping up American scientists to utilize their expertise for, alien space weapons, genetically engineering space monkeys, we don't know. Several of the missing individuals left their homes without essential items, blah, 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 which is kind of classic, where they just go, blunk, very quickly. Let's go over the Ipcress file. Oh, yes, please. Ladies and gentlemen, they've got a new one. I didn't realize in 2022. Look, that was bad casting. That guy's not Michael Caine, not even close. He looks like a 12-year-old. I'm not terribly. I love the spy thrillers. Nothing makes me happier to watch Gary Oldman in Slow Horses. But the Ipcress file, the new one, I don't know. I'll see if I can steal it. I'd happily pay for this stuff, but by the time you go to all the places where this stuff is hosted, I mean, it'd cost you $100 a month. Just to have them all. I'd pay $20 a month just to be able to watch them on demand, but you can't because it's all on so many different channels. Anyway, so let's quickly watch the extracts. The links are below if you want to watch the Ipcress. It's a great old movie. The theme of the movie is at the very beginning, the scientist disappears. He's getting on a train and the driver is dropping the scientist off. He realizes, the scientist left his camera or a bag behind, and he's running back to the carriage, and he opens the carriage door, and there's another guy in there, and he goes, "Where's Dr. Such and Such?" Well, it ends. What happened was that guy is killed, and the scientist has disappeared. You can see the theme here. So we'll watch an extract that I extracted out of the movie, which I had, but let's watch the very beginning first. Okay, let's start watching it. I'll string it along a bit to make it go a bit faster. Good old British movie. Oh, I love it. We must keep England strong. I do not want to lose those brilliant period piece dramas, spy thrillers, excellent acting. Please don't abandon England. We need some convergence, man, so we get some decent freaking movies.
Right. What train, sir?
Jolly good.
To Nottingham.
Tally her, chaps.
There's a compartment reserved for Dr. Radcliffe. Yes.
Dr. Radcliffe, tally her. Cucumber sandwiches, game of cricket. There we go. Uh-oh. Sorry, I skipped. Sorry. Okay, he's getting in the train. You good, Dr. Radcliffe?
Well, have a good holiday, Dr. Radcliffe. And Henderson will be in Nottingham to meet you. Yes. Right?
Jolly good.
Bye.
Bye. But he's left something. Wait for it. Now, this is like the missing scientists. Right in the good old British movie. Because we get a bit of context. Because the only way to tell truth in the national security state is via fiction. Isn't that right, Richard Dean? Thank you for your service. There we go. Look, I'm getting excited. Here we go. Hell, Dr. Radcliffe.
Got your camera.
Oh, who's this chap? What's going on?
Where's Dr. Radcliffe?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look out. Run. Run. Lord have mercy. Run, I tells you. Oh, my goodness. Stressful. Stressful. Here we go. Not even had a car chase yet, so you know it's a British movie. Oh, dear. The plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen. The plot thickens. The plot thickens. Okay, Life Imitates Art. This is 2 minutes, 37 seconds long. Here's the intro, and then there'll be a scene where they finally meet with the Blue Jay, as they call him, to demand the scientist is still alive. The guy that's dead was his guard and his driver. Now they've been finding a brain drain where scientists are leaving suddenly, and some are going missing. And in the first scene, the scene you're about to watch, you'll hear them talking about what's happening, setting the scene for the movie. Then we'll watch a scene where Michael Caine with a group are meeting with Blue Jay to get the scientist back, who the guy kidnapped off the train.
Let me put you in the picture, Dolby. The killing of Radcliffe's guard has verified our suspicions.
For some time now, we've had a section investigating the brain drain. What's worrying them upstairs is that too many government scientists are leaving their jobs at the peak of their careers. They cease to function.
You've checked on them, of course.
Naturally. We've checked on them all. 126 have left in the past 2 years. 107 had fair enough reasons to go. Better facilities, better pay. 3 defected to the other side.
And the other 16?
17 with Radcliffe, 17 top men. What defies the laws of probability is that none of them had a rational explanation for quitting.
But Radcliffe didn't quit. He was lifted.
Exactly. Now we think we've got our first real lead. And I want you to get Radcliffe back.
Lord have mercy.
I'll try, of course.
That's not good enough.
I reload is onto it.
The people upstairs might have to close you down.
Yeah. No, it's good. Cucumber sandwiches, old boy.
This department was set up for counter-espionage, not security-grade 1 surveillance on people like Radcliffe.
Well, neither were Wilson's or Roberts' departments, but I put them on S1 duties.
They were War Office, I'm Home Office.
Oh, I'm aware of that, Dolby. I set you up, remember? And you got a very good job for a passed-over major, haven't you?
Oh, intrigue, gentlemen, intrigue. Here we go. I've shortened this somewhat. Oh, guns are dangerous, be careful. There's the missing scientist. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hey, steady on, boy. Violence, terrible. Okay, now in the movie, what was also elaborated upon is a lot of these scientists turn up and they're all dazed, they're confused. It's like Havana syndrome. I'm telling you now, someone's doing a movie plot. And they can't think anymore. They can't work. And they go, what's going on? Some are being kidnapped, some are turning up weeks later, and they can't work it out. So life imitates art, art imitates life. Fascinating, fascinating. My good friend Gemini AI states, the comparison to the Ipcress file is spot on. Of course, it's always spot on, old boy. You're a genius, darling, it says. That's why I hate it. So it's a mix of large language model bullshit, and you got to tell it to, you actually have to tell it to get facts for you. You have to tell it to go to a fact database. If you don't do that, it's going to give you inference best guess. That's why it gets so much wrong. It's not hallucinating. It's such a stupid name. It's not hallucinating. It's because it's a large language model, best guess, inference model, which is the best way to do chat conversations and tell you what you want to hear. You have to tell the model to go and get you facts based on databases and other things. That's why I like Perplexity. It's far more facts-based. It's far superior, but it's more expensive. Way more expensive than, not way, it's double what you get with Gemini. So the comparison to the Ipcress file is spot on, old boy. The brain drain mystery is a classic Cold War trope, but seeing it play out with modern figures like General McCashland and researchers like Amy Eskridge, we can see the movie coming. Please let the British make it. The Americans, sorry, you're just not good at espionage. Makes it feel, I don't want to see car chases. I want good, jolly good character and subtle irony and humor and underhanded comments, please. Makes it feel less like a Michael Caine movie and more like a systemic security failure. When you look at the list of 11 through an intelligence lens, your two theories, counterintelligence cleanup versus the extraction Cambridge 5 model, are exactly the lines being scrutinised by the House Oversight Committee. The extraction theory. This aligns with the details surrounding several disappearances, such as General McCasland or Monica Raza. The clean exit. The left behind phones, wallets and keys. In modern surveillance states, those are tracking beacons. Leaving them on the kitchen table is tradecraft 101 for a planned extraction or a defection. And you should never carry a mobile phone. If you don't know, speaking to a lot of coppers and a lot of criminals in my day, you will find that when they pull up a criminal, particularly someone with a life of crime, a professional, and they look and they got an old Nokia 5210, or they have no mobile smartphone at all, did you know that is presented to the jury as evidence of criminality? If you don't carry a smartphone, it is considered reasonable evidence that you are up to no good. Automatically, like on the record. Wow. The Cambridge 5 parallel, much like Kim Philby or Guy Burgess, if these scientists reached a point of no return regarding their exposure as foreign assets, Israeli/City of London, a host nation like Russia or China would have every incentive to bring them home to salvage their expertise before an arrest occurs. Their counterintelligence cleanup, the elimination model. This theory is darker and accounts for the actual deaths on the list, like Nuno Lorino or Amy Eskridge. Internal sanitization. If this is, it's like Treadstone and Jason Bourne straight out of the movies. Because the movies are based on real life, that's why. If US intelligence discovered a deep cover cell within sensitive programs, be they nuclear, anti-gravity, quantum, the quiet removal of these assets might be preferred over a public trial that reveals how compromised the programs actually were. Directed energy nuance. Eskridge claims of being targeted by a microwave weapon and the brain fog. Look, I got all those symptoms. I'll get vertigo, and I mean bad vertigo. It feels like, woof, feels like my blood is falling directly down through my ascending aorta. Ugh, it's a horrible feeling. Your head spins, you'll start to panic. And joint pain, I've had all those symptoms. To the point where I tried to order some EMF stuff for the windows. I just got to I've run cables now. Everything runs off cables, including my phone. I'm trying to work it out, what it is. Brain fog is not just, I'm having a slow day. I mean, I'm talking and I can't even remember what I'm saying. You don't see this, but I have the pause button on, like now. 10 seconds just passed and I flicked it back on because I can't remember. What was I talking about? I'm literally forgetting mid-sentence what I'm talking about. There can be other reasons for that. High stress, PTSD can do that. Amygdala, parts of your brain have problems, but it's a classic sign, memory retention of EMF. Classic. Standard, written about in studies on 2G, 3G, 4G, and low-frequency 5G. Memory formation, ability to retain memory, to bring up memories. I'm trying to learn Spanish, which is half my problem, stress, and I just can't retain anything new. Old stuff, not so bad, but I forget things which I read every day. It's very strange. And whatever, but it can also start creating a form of, hysterical, oh my God, I've got Havana syndrome. But what it can also do is when a lot of stuff came out in the 80s, in the late 80s, about Satan worship and child baby sacrifice, there was real evidence of that, real evidence. And so what do? They suddenly put forward a bunch of lying freaks who put all over the TV, and they're baby sacrifice, and it was everywhere till it became a laughingstock. So they can also do that as well. So real Havana syndrome, real things are now being covered up with a bunch of hysterical crap. And this is the way they really diffuse any targeted focus on real stuff. I mean, we know these silent wars, quiet weapons. We know this stuff goes on. So directed energy weapon, Eskridge claims of being targeted by microwave weapons and the brain fog reported by others before they vanished echo the Havana syndrome phenomena. This suggests a neutralization strategy either by a foreign power trying to stop their work or a domestic spy agency retiring someone who knew too much or was talking to the wrong people. And of course, there is kind of a contrived element that I can sort of feel, I don't know. It appears to be, they usually mix bullshit with real events, which can confuse you more. As Adam Curtis says, if I just keep putting up garbage, and like the killing of Charlie Kirk, half the people don't even believe it happened. And a lot of people, no, you can't shoot a 30-06, 2,700 feet per second, large caliber heavy round into a man's slim neck and not literally almost take his head off. We know this. We don't need science to tell us. We already had one magic bullet theory. I don't need to know the color of Charlie Kirk's underpants or the time when his flight arrived. I just know it's bullshit. It's bullshit. But they do it on purpose, so we go round and round in circles, and their pre-planted assets run us round and round, and they have made an awful lot of mistakes. Good old Candace and Ian Carroll, they've made an awful lot of mistakes in their analysis. Look, the fairy looks guilty of at least being around in the scene. I don't believe he's been set up. I believe somewhere he was in on it. He's a patsy, like Lee Harvey Oswald. But obviously, it's a guy with a little 32 semi-auto in the front of the crowd. He's just standing in the front, and from the hip, when you practice that stuff over and over and over again, you can get very good at it. I reckon he's put a 32 caliber through his neck. I don't think 30-06, I wasn't there. It doesn't sound particularly loud, even when you take into account the sound suppression on most phone cameras. Whatever, explosive device, all that stuff's possible. I just know, instead of asking for the details, why don't we ask why he was killed and who benefited? And as far as I can see, Israel did not benefit from the death of Charlie Kirk. Quite the contrary. But there's an awful lot of craziness going on, polarization, and demands from the likes of a Tucker Carlson or a Candace Owen using part truth to demand we need to come home. No more wars for Israel. Let's pull our bases out of Europe. Let's pull our bases out of Israel because Russia and China are ready to step in on the record. And that is what is motivating good old Candace, married to the homosexual MI6 boyfriend, and Tucker hanging out in Qatar, buying apartment blocks in Qatar with a staff of 27, hanging out in MI6 Qatar, City of London, Qatar. Does that not explain why they're giving you some truth? And then the third, Trump, the scumbag with Chabad. See, it creates well, then you love Trump? No, I don't love Trump. You see, you're surrounded by scumbaggery. You got to say to them, no, the Trump administration, from a pure, cold-hearted geopolitical level, is doing a fantastic job. Iran is done. It's all acting. They're just getting these guys. They want to extend this out. Iran is what? It's about putting pressure on City of London, EU, and China. That's what this is about. That's why you saw Mark Carney, Keir Starmer running to China in January this year, because they knew this was coming. They knew. And you got Tucker lined up. Candace is ready to go. But it doesn't mean I don't want Trump gone. I don't care how he's gone down some stairs, retired. I think he's an absolute filthy piece of scumbaggery. I mean, he's disgusting. And to see people push him as this messiah figure, he's a Chabad, he won't put his hand on the Bible, he's a Christian, he's a guy. No, he's a scumbag. He worships himself, hanging with Chabad. Tucker Carlson made one good point. Do you think for a single second, after mocking Christ and all the other things he's done, not putting his hand on the Bible, you don't think for a second that Donald Trump would ever insult Judaism and or Chabad or Rabbi Schneerson? Tucker Carlson made a good point. He'd never do that. He's got to go. They all do. And Tucker Carlson can go, and Candace Owens can go as well. And maybe we'll have an adult conversation about these issues for a change with real experts instead of the circus. They're telling us it's fake. That's what Vladislav Surkov in Russia says. Not only will we run all the political parties, we'll run all the personalities, right wing, left wing, that wing, down wing, in between wing. We'll then tell people that we're running them, and we'll create even more confusion, destabilize perception. And we'll just keep these wars and this stuff going on. And that is what you are seeing going on. This is a fight between US elites, scumbags in their own right, for various reasons, and the City of London, EU. That's the fight. I'm simply picking America because it has the most hope for freedom. Free America, free the world. Do I think we'll be successful? That's why I always put F. Scott Fitzgerald. Watch it at the end. It seems impossible, but we're going to try anyway. Why not? I had nothing better to do this weekend. Might reform the Catholic Church along the way. Why not? Jolly good, tally-ho. So these are all these possibilities, the back channels, the Ipcress file stuff, all of this good old stuff. The historical precedents for orchestrated disappearances and fake deaths are well documented by the intelligence professionals who designed them. And the Mossad, Israeli Intel, private security contractors, companies with their ties into Hollywood are the kings of this stuff. Could they pull off a fake Charlie Kirk assassination? You bet they could. I have particular reasons for believing he's dead. That is the most likely scenario. He is dead. They killed him. Could have been something as simple as that little 32 semi-auto in front of the crowd, pulls it up, bang. That's it. But you're in Mormon country, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, let me tell you, it's a cult. Don't get me wrong, I love the laity. Some of my favorite people are Mormons. They are really good people, the laity. And I know them really well, and they'll tell you the corruption and how powerful they are. You go on about the Catholic Church, the Vatican? Vatican's broke, baby. You know, one of the richest religions in the world? The Mormons are so freaking filthy rich. They've got about $28 billion in assets, $4 billion in cash. You know how rich they are? You know how many are employed in the FBI and the CIA? Huh? So if you're going to fake a Charlie Kirk assassination or do a real Charlie Kirk assassination, you would do it there, without question. You would do it in front of a bunch of Mormons because you can control them. I mean, let's face it, all that high-tech Apple iPhone footage in 4K and what? I haven't seen a single high-resolution bit of footage. Not a single high-resolution piece of footage, ever. Isn't that amazing? For the magic bullet theory. Let's have our second magic bullet theory. It's just disgraceful. The video featuring the CIA's former chief of disguises provides a direct look at the technical service capabilities that mirror the scenarios you're considering. The fake death and body double strategy. Let's have a look at this video of this lady, the fake Shahs Exfiltrations, the International Spy Museum. There are lots of former serving and official government stuff to do with espionage, and they want to employ more housewives. To their credit, they're trying to employ better people instead of these rich, old Yale, Harvard families with their coke addictions, group sex, closet homosexuality and bisexuality, weirdo, whack job inbreds, literal inbreds. Hi, have you seen Nick's friends, Nick Fuentes, his white friends from Yale? Have you seen them? You wonder who's running Nick Fuentes. But let's watch this. Shah and Exfiltrations. Short excerpt. Now, this lady, I've forgotten her name. Joanna Mendez, yeah. She does makeup and disguises. Very interesting. That's why I'm such an expert. I watch all the YouTube videos and all the spy thrillers. Some people have said, oh, we know from your talk and your language. I said, dude, I watch a lot of movies. And they went, no, I'm being serious. I'm a movie buff. And I love the old spy thrillers. Scorpios, we can't help ourselves. We love the intrigue. Now let's listen to Joanna Mendez talk about how when the 1979 revolution had taken place, at the time the Shah was getting treatment for stomach cancer in the US. They wanted to fly him back, or they wanted to either say he had died and put a body double and a dummy or whatever it was, or that he had flown out of the country and they'd actually got a guy to make him look exactly like the Shah. Anyway, these are all these plans just to show you. So you remember Jeff Epstein when you think about these things. This is the sort of stunts they pull. They never did this. The president didn't allow it. But listen up.
The idea came up. What if the Shah left the United States? Would that calm them down? If that was the only problem, big problem, then what if he left the United States? Would that resolve the situation? So, well, maybe he didn't actually have to leave the United States. What if we made it appear that he left the United States? And so what we did in OTS, using the tools that we had, which were basically from the disguise labs, but using some people that we knew, costumers, all kinds of people came into this, going through all the pictures of all the employees at CIA to find, did we have any that had facial features that would be a beginning match with the Shah? We found a few. We brought them up to our offices. And at the end of the day, we made two Shahs, two fake Shahs of Iran. One looked exactly like the Shah. He was from a Middle Eastern background. He had the bone structure, in other words. I think we had to do something with his nose, something with his hair. We put him in the Shah's uniform with the big red sash and the epaulettes and the Shah, when he had all his regalia on, he was a stunning figure.
And he was the right size figure?
Yeah, everything. It was another Shah. Then we made a second one that appeared to be dead. He was on a gurney. He was on a stretcher.
Remember this for Epstein.
Still in his uniform. And that could have been almost anybody, but we had used our mask capabilities to make his face and still put the uniform on him. Getting the uniform was a little tricky, getting someone who could exactly represent it. And we took those into the White House early on and showed Jimmy Carter and said, this could be a solution. This could defuse this revolution. This could calm them down enough that we can get the people that were left behind. And Jimmy Carter said no.
Now, the whole point she's talking about is because they had a lot of people in Iran. They had to get them out. Ring any bells? So do you think that the opposite happens to the United States? Again, through Israel's City of London networks, Wall Street networks, military-industrial contractor networks. Could this be extracting their assets out? Possibly. Again, it's all linked below. So the tactical goal, the plan was to use his death, the Shah, to defuse the revolution and exfiltrate the real Shah though President Jimmy Carter ultimately rejected the plan as too risky. The fact that the dead body was built and presented to the White House confirms that faking a death is a verified operational solution for high-level assets. Spontaneous disappearance model. And this is in that video. Again, the video is linked below. Joanna Mendez. Very interesting. She's in quite a few of those, telling of creating disguises and all sorts of things. The dinner in the skillet tactic. In the video, the chief of disguise, Joanna Mendez, describes a 1980s operation where a Polish family was exfiltrated across the border. When the KGB arrived to investigate their home, they found the refrigerator full of food and Dilla still in the skillet on the stove. The conclusion, because the life was left perfectly intact and frozen, the security services concluded they must have died. This deliberate freezing of a life is intended to stop a pursuit before it begins. Historical heart attacks versus extraction. So this is US authorities are killing them because they know they are assets, but they don't want to put on a trial or suffer the embarrassment. Your mention of Harry Dexter White, the Treasury official and suspected Soviet asset who died of a heart attack shortly after his 1948 testimony, and the Silva Master spy ring highlights the historical mix of methods used to handle compromised assets. The silent removal. Assets who become a liability, like White or members of the Silva Master group, often met timely ends that avoided a public trial which might have exposed the depth of the penetration and the embarrassment of it all. The extraction, Cambridge 5, Kim Philby, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Guy Burgess, all that stuff. And Victor Rothschild, we might add. Figures like Kim Philby or the Raptor agent mentioned in the video, a high-level Savak agent infiltrated as a Jordanian pipe fitter. She talks about one of their assets in Iran, demonstrate the high value placed on getting people back. The missing scientist list currently being probed by the House Oversight Committee sits at the intersection of these two concepts, a cluster of high-value individuals leaving their lives frozen, phones and wallets on the table, while the authorities investigate if they were eliminated by a domestic agency or spirited away by a foreign one. How interesting. How interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that little journey. It was fun to make, as I like the spy stuff. God willing, we can get back on track in terms of popping up videos. I don't know how to view this exactly. I considered it at first a distraction and just another made-up load of garbage, and then I started looking. We, of course, have Ari Loeb, a Talpiot graduate and alumni and very high-level operative at Harvard University, who's leading the way to ask about these questions. You know, the first thing they do if they've got something involved in it is to put their people in the chair as the expert to lead you down a garden path, to keep an eye on things, to talk to the media, put them down fake paths, go to speak to this guy, that guy. They may say these things off camera. Ari Loeb, Talpiot Program, Harvard. Remember, these people that came out of Unit 8200 and Talpiot are also Wall Street lawyers. They're not just military, high-tech, anti-gravity stuff. They're not just IT people. They're not just coders. They're all sorts of people and in all sorts of places. And the levels of penetration are so great, I don't see any other way but just start killing them. I'm not saying that to incite. I'm just telling you that is my opinion, that if you were the US authorities, you want to avoid, there's probably 100 more, 1,000 more, possibly, in the last particularly 5, 6, 7 years. That possibly the way you do it to avoid embarrassment, number one, then you have to admit some crazy Australian guy kind of forced this into the open, and that would be rather embarrassing because you keep calling him mentally ill. So clearly we don't need a $50 billion a year in intelligence community. We just get mentally ill people, a lot cheaper. But embarrassment is a big one, and trying to explain how this happened is so bad, it would be logical to just start killing them. Just start killing them slowly. Just slowly, maybe at some point in the future, they'll have some sacrificial lambs like the Rosenbergs, a similar thing. That's definitely on the cards. So be careful if you're in that scene or if you're, working for them by covering for them in podcasts and other things. Be very careful because this is the age of cleaning up networks. They're going to start cleaning up networks. Going to be a lot of cults, a lot of fanaticism in the next 10, 20 years, but they're going to clean up networks. So be very careful. I was talking to some Lebanese friends based in LA, and they knew a lot of interesting people. They knew, Gene, what's his name, out of KISS. And these guys were saying he knew a lot of friends because they spoke Arabic, were from the region, and they were getting recruited and they were going away and we never saw them again, he said. When they finished, they just kill them. So if you're working for that network, watch out. The Islamic terror network is being cleaned up, and there might be a lot of other networks cleaned up. So just be very cautious if you're in that scene. The best thing to do is jump on a plane, fly to Israel, fly to London with Whitney and Arnold Milchan and maybe soon Ari Emanuel, we hope, and Rahm Emanuel. He's going to run for president. That's funny. See how that goes. What I suggest you do is jump on the plane now. You might as well get out now. All right, or maybe run to Ukraine, because when they put that giant US base in the Gaza Strip, they'll probably have a very big security clearance thing because a lot of people are going to have their security clearances done again. This could be a very deceptive time, obviously, as long as a place of a lot of revelations. And what we have, of course, as well, is we still don't know where the $5 trillion from the Pentagon is. There's no audit of the Pentagon still. It's become a running joke instead of a cause for concern and horror. Oh, well, $5 trillion missing. Ha, ha, ha. Isn't it funny? Wonder where all that money's gone. And of course, we have frauds like Elon Musk and SpaceX and all the rest receiving contracts when they can't deliver anything, and he should be in jail for fraud for life. He has done 100 times worse than Elizabeth What's-Her-Face. 100 times worse. But apparently it's okay when you're Kissinger's boy, when you're Ari Emanuel's boy. There's another foreign intelligence asset, useful idiot, Elon Musk. I'd say they're cleaning up the networks. We're not talking about the 2008 financial crash where they made off with, what, $3 trillion? And all the bankers said, yeah, we're paying ourselves bonuses and you can go F yourself. That's literally what they did. Literally. You saw the hearing committees, you saw the Senate inquiries to do with, like, particularly Lehman Brothers, outright criminality, out and out fraud and criminality. Didn't care. Paid bonuses and laughed at everyone. Not, oh my God, we're lucky we're not hanging from lampposts. No one gets a bonus. In fact, we might have to let's just not take any profit for the next 5 years because we're lucky to be alive. Nope, they just kept right on going. Well, they do it because you're a hellish ape who thinks if you talk about it all day on a podcast that suddenly magically the fairies turn up and the swag fairies and the leprechaun coffee mug sellers magically form a vortex and suddenly everything's fine. No, it's not. You've got to penetrate cabinets. Penetrate the cabinets. We need our form of young global leaders. We must start penetrating the cabinets at a grassroots level. That's how it's done. Idiot, dumb, goy rats protest and carry on and create podcasts. Serious people penetrate political movements. They get their people into power. They push their people into Congress. They get down in front of people at political meetings with flyers. It's always linked below. Every time you see this video, the flyers will be linked below. They're excellent flyers. And Matt, I've got to put Matt's email up. And if you're in Australia, you can contact Matt for Australian versions and do a bit of liaising. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe Epstein's still alive. Charlie Kirk could be alive, but I don't think so. The most likely result is that, in fact, he is dead. But it's got everyone busy. It's a City of London hit most likely, and it's created huge polarisation, idiocy. We're not talking about the right things. We're talking about Candace fighting with Erica Kirk and all the rest of the stuff. They want it like that. It suits everybody. If everybody's fighting, the big boys can meet in a basement with Heinz Kissinger in his jar, just his head, that's all that's left, and they can meet under a bare light bulb in a basement and hack out a deal while the peasants get shafted as per usual. We've got to stop this happening. We've got to become adults and engage in politics and bypass the internet. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk again soon. Hasta luego. Hold up, Fez, Jumpanegi, Jumpananti. We'll talk again very, very, very soon. F. Scott Fitzgerald, quote, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless and yet be determined to make them otherwise. This philosophy fitted on to my early adult life when I saw the improbable, the implausible, often the impossible, come true."
What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American because that's what it's all about, and it's the only thing that it's all about, nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom.